So in this JavaScript project, we are going to create the guess the number game, in which case we will allow the user to provide the input between 1 to 100 over here. And then guys, based on the number that is provided by the user, we are going to check it against the random number that is generated by this web page over here. So let us try this. Let me just load this page once again and let us guess the number that is generated by user. First of all, we will provide the guess as 50, and when we click on submit, in this case it provides us the hint that is the guess is too high over here. So the number should be between 1 to 49 now. So let me just provide the number that is 25 over here. When we click on submit, as you can see, it says your guess is too low. And once again, let us move to the number 35 over here. The guess is too low once again. Let me just move to the number 40. So you can see that the guess is correct. And this is the way that we are going to create our web page, and the logic that we are going to write is in the JavaScript, wherein we will handle whether the guess that is provided by the user, is it the correct number, is it the smaller number or the greater number, and accordingly we will provide the hint over here so that the user can correct its guess. So guys, let us move to VS Code. So over here, let us create a new folder inside the projects folder, and we will name it as guess random number. So this is the folder that we have created, and inside this folder we are going to create the three files, that is index.html, and then we have the style.css file, and also we have the JavaScript file, that is script.js file over here. So guys, you can name them accordingly based on your preference. Basically we are going to have these three files over here, that is HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Now guys, let us quickly create the basic structure of the HTML web page, wherein the user will be able to guess the number. So guys, over here, let us quickly create the HTML web page. In this case, let me just update the title to guess the number over here, and then also we will link the style.css file with the help of this link tag over here, and also the JavaScript file by using the script tag, in this case just before the ending tag of the body over here. So guys, in this case, let us link the script.js file over here. Now guys, simply we are going to create a new div tag over here with the class container, inside which we are going to have the text box where the user will be able to provide the input in order to guess the number. So guys, we have the div tag over here. Let us create the h1 tag as well, and we will say guess the number as the heading. And then guys, after this, what we have to do is simply we will provide the label and the input as well. So guys, in this case, the input will be of the type text over here. So simply we provide input as text, and let us provide the name attribute as user input, and also the same value we will provide for the ID attribute as well. Let me just provide the label tag as well. So over here, for the for attribute, we will have the user input. Now guys, over here we will provide the string, that is enter your guess, and then followed by colon, and then after this we are going to have the text box wherein user will be able to provide the input. Now guys, after this, let me just provide a couple of line breaks over here, after which we will provide the submit button as well. So we have the input of the type button over here, and for the value part we will provide the submit as the string. So guys, let me just save this file now. Let us start our local server. So let me click on this go live button over here on the VS Code. So as you can see, we have this h1 tag followed by the label and the input box over here, wherein user will be able to provide the input, and then click on the submit button over here. Now guys, if you notice, we will be able to provide the characters as well inside the input box. So let me just change the type of this input to number over here, so that the user is allowed to only provide the numbers inside this text box over here. Now guys, when we click on submit, basically we want the hint to be provided to the user, and in case if the number that is guessed by the user is correct, then we also want to show the result over here. So guys, simply we will provide another paragraph tag in this case, and then we will say result will appear here. So guys, basically inside this particular paragraph, the result will be displayed in this case after the user has correctly guessed the number, or in case if the number is greater, then we have to provide the hint that the user have to provide a smaller number, and the reverse if the user has provided a smaller number. So guys, we will handle all those situations inside our script.js file over here. Now guys, since we have provided the basic structure, let us also provide certain styling to this web page. So guys, simply we will copy the container, that is the class name for this div tag, and let me just provide certain styling over here. So basically we will provide the width as 50% of the entire screen over here, and let us also provide the background color in this case. So let us say we provide chart reuse, that is the green version of the color that we are providing as the background color for this particular div tag. So as you can see, this is the div tag that is getting displayed over here. Now guys, apart from this, let us also provide certain padding. So let us say we provide 10 pixels of padding. Also we will provide the border of 2 pixels width followed by the solid border type, and then we have the color of the border as black over here. So as you can see, the changes are getting reflected with the help of this local server that we had started. Now guys, apart from this, let us also provide certain border radius as well. So a border radius of 5 pixels can be provided, and also we want this entire div tag that is highlighted in green color to be present at the center of the screen over here. So simply we will provide the margin as auto in this case. So as you can see, we are now getting the div tag with the required styling attributes that we have provided. Now guys, after this, the most important thing is to write our JavaScript code in order to generate the random number and ask the user to guess that particular random number over here. So guys, what we will do is, let us go to the script.js file. First of all, we will generate the random number. So using the function, we will name it as get random number over here. We are going to generate the random number in this case. Now guys, how do we generate the random number? Simply by using the math module, inside which we are going to have the random method. So guys, let us use that. So basically we will use math followed by dot, and then we have the random method over here. Now guys, this method is going to generate the number between 0 to 1 over here, including the decimal numbers. So what we have to do is, we need the numbers between 1 to 100. So basically, let me just provide the comment over here, generate random number between 1 to 100. So guys, basically we want the numbers to be present between 1 to 100 in this case. So the user should be allowed to guess the number only between 1 to 100. We can make that change on the UI as well. So basically we will have 1 to 100 over here inside the brackets. So as you can see, this is the change that we have done in this case. So basically this is the guess the number UI that is getting displayed over here, and then user will be able to provide the number between 1 to 100. Now guys, apart from this, what we have to do is, inside this function that is get random number, we use this particular method. Now guys, since we are getting the number between 0 to 1, we want the number to be between 1 to 100. So simply we will multiply it by the upper limit of the number that we want. So guys, basically the maximum number that we want is 100 over here, and that is what we are going to use while multiplying the output of this particular expression. So guys, basically we have multiplied it by 100, but still we won't be able to get rid of the decimal point with this particular expression. So what we have to do is, again we have to make use of the ceil method in order to only get the integer part of the random number that is getting generated over here. So guys, simply we will use math followed by dot, and then we have the ceil method in order to get the integer from this particular number that is getting generated. Now guys, we will be able to get the number between 1 to 100 based on the number that is generated by the random method, and then let us provide the variable on the left hand side. So we have the random variable over here which can be returned. So guys, basically we can return the random number over here. So this is a very simple function that we have written in order to first of all generate the random number. Now guys, apart from this, we also want the user to provide the input after generating the random number. So what we have to do is, we need to identify this text box and the submit button as well. So guys, over here let me just check whether we have provided the ID for the text box and the submit button. So over here we have the user input as the ID, and for the submit button as well, let us provide the ID as submit over here. So guys, simply we will identify both these HTML elements. So we will use the document followed by dot, and then we have the query selector, and this time first of all we will get the user input over here, which is the text box. So guys, over here we provide the user input, and then let me just provide the variable as input over here. Apart from this, we also have the button in this case. So basically we will provide submit button as the variable name. Let me just provide the variable name as user input over here so that it makes more sense in order to identify that this is the user input that the user will be providing. And then guys, we have the submit button over here, for which the ID is submit. So guys, basically since we are using the ID, we have to provide the hash character as well before the ID value that we are providing. So this is hash user input followed by hash submit over here in order to identify the text box and the submit button. Now guys, what we have to do is, when the user clicks on the submit button, we have to take the data from the user input, that is the text box over here, and compare it with the random number that is getting generated. So guys, first of all, let us get the random number over here. So simply we will provide random number as the variable. It is equal to, we will call this function in order to get a random number over here. So guys, basically when we call this function, a random number will be generated and it will be returned and stored inside this random number. Now guys, we have to make use of this random number in order to compare the input that is provided by the user. So what we will do is, simply we are going to create another function and we will name it as submit button click over here, since this is the function that is going to handle the submit button click. So guys, inside this what we have to do is, first of all, this user input that is provided by the user, we need to get the number out of it. So guys, basically we will make use of the user input, and in order to get the value that is provided inside this text box, we have to use the property that is value over here. So we provide dot character followed by the property that is value. Now guys, in the previous video we have seen that by default the input that is provided by the user in the text boxes is of the data type string. So we need to convert it into a number. So guys, in this case we will simply provide the variable that is number over here. It is equal to, and then we will wrap this particular expression inside the parseInt function. So guys, over here simply we will provide parseInt function, which will help us in order to convert the string into a number and store it inside this number. So guys, basically instead of having the variable as number, we will simply provide it as a guess, since it's a user guess in this case. So let me just provide user guess over here so that it becomes more sensible. So guys, this is the user guess which will be extracted from this user input. Now guys, what we have to do is, we need to compare this user guess against this random number that was generated, and then guys we have to provide it inside the while loop, and then over here we need to continue until the guess is correct. So guys, what we can do is, simply we will provide user guess, is it equal to the value, that is the random number which is generated. So this is the condition that we are going to use. So basically if the user guess is not equal to random number, then we have to continue. So guys, basically instead of having the equal to operator, we will provide not equal to operator, and this 2 times equal to will help us in order to compare the data types of both these variables as well. So guys, over here what we have to do is, if the user guess is not equal to random number, so either it is less than or greater than the random number. So simply we will say, if user guess it is less than the random number, which means the guess that is provided by the user is a small number. So guys, what we have to do is, we also have to identify this paragraph, which is the result paragraph over here. We will provide the ID as result. So guys, simply we will duplicate this line of code over here, and simply we will say result as the variable, and also the ID will be result in this case. So if the user guess is less than the random number, then we have to provide the hint to the user that your guess is smaller than the correct number. So guys, over here simply we will provide the result variable, and we will use the inner HTML property. So guys, this will help us in order to override this particular statement that is present inside the result paragraph. So over here we will say your guess is too low. So basically we are going to provide this particular guess so that user gets little confused and is not able to correctly guess the number and make it more challenging for the user. We will say that the guess is too low. Even if the difference is 1, then still the user will get confused over here. So guys, we are going to make this task a more challenging for the user. Apart from this, if the user guess is greater than random number, so we will come in the else if part in this case, and then once again we will say if this user guess is greater than the random number, then again we are going to provide the similar statement, but in this case we will say your guess is too high over here. So guys, basically if the guess is smaller than the random number, then the guess is low, or else the guess will be high over here, and user will be allowed to provide the guess once again over here if the guess is too low or the guess is too high. So guys, in this case what we want to do is we should be clearing the user input after the guess is low or the guess is high. So guys, simply we will provide user input over here followed by dot, and then we will provide the value attribute. It is equal to the blank character over here, so that whatever number that was provided by the user, it is cleared. Now guys, since we are using the button click over here, before which we cannot check for a specific condition, then what we have to do is we have to remove this while loop over here. So basically this is the change that we have to do. So simply let me just comment out these lines of code over here, and then simply what we will do is on every submit button click over here, the random number will be checked against the guess in this case. So if the user guess is less than random number, we will provide the guess is too low, and then we have the guess is too high, and then in the end what we will do is again we will have another condition. If the user guess is correct, which means it is equal to the random number over here, then we have to provide the statement that is your guess is correct. So guys, in this case we will simply provide your guess is correct over here, and then after this we have this particular statement which should be executed after every wrong guess. So guys, let me just remove this line of code over here, and then for the first two if conditions we are going to clear the text box over here. So guys, simply let me just provide another line of code inside these statements. So over here, as you can see, we have provided user input dot value, it is equal to the blank character. So guys, this particular function will help us in order to check whether the guess that is provided by the user is it correct and whether it is matching with the random number. Now guys, the last thing is to call this particular submit button click function. So how do we do that? Simply by using the submit button over here. So guys, in this case we will use the submit button variable followed by dot, and then we have to add the event listener, and we will listen for the click event over here, after which we have to provide the callback function. And this callback function, what it will do is basically it is going to call this submit button click. So guys, simply we will provide submit button click over here as the function. So guys, let us test our application now. Let us see what will be the random number that will be generated by the system. So guys, over here I have reloaded the page and the random number must have got generated. Let us provide some input over here as the user input, and when we click on submit over here, no change is happening. So let us see what is the issue. So let us go to the inspect option over here and go to the console section. So guys, inside the console section we can see that uncaught type error cannot set properties of null, and at the line number 16. So guys, over here inside the script.js file at line number 16 we are getting this issue that we cannot set the properties of null. So guys, why this result is null over here? Basically, since we have not saved the file, as you can see this HTML file is not saved after we have set the ID. So let me just save this file now, and let us guess the number once again over here. Let us keep the console section open so that we can see if there is any issue. So when we provide the input that is 50 over here, when we submit, you can see that your guess is too high over here. Let us go down to the number that is 25, and then we are getting your guess is too low, and then let us guess another number that is 35. Again it is too high. Let us go to the number that is 30. Your guess is too low once again. Let us guess it as 33 over here. Your guess is too high. Let us move to 32. Again your guess is too high, so the number should be 31 because we have already tested 30 and 32. So when we click on submit now, you can see that your guess is correct is getting displayed over here. So guys, this is the way that you can create this guess the number game, and you can allow the user to provide the input between 1 to 100 over here, and it will show the user the required hints in this case if the guessed number is a higher number or the smaller number. Let us try once again. When we reload this page, another random number must have got generated, which you can see after logging this random number on the console. So guys, over here let us try with the number 70 in this case. So your guess is too high. Let us move to the number 40 now. So again the guess is too high. And then let us move to the number 20. The guess is low over here. We move to 30 now. Again it is high. And then we provide 25. It is too low once again. Let me just provide 28. It is too high. So the number is either 26 or 27. Let us see what is the number over here. So 26 also is too low, and the number should be 27 over here. You can see that your guess is correct in this case. Guys, apart from this, you can make more changes inside the HTML file over here and count the number of guesses that are provided by the user, and also show that particular count on the UI as a homework for you. So guys, comment in the comment section below whether you have learned something out of this video. Please make sure that you like this video so that it reaches to more people, and subscribe to the channel so that you get the notifications on upcoming videos as well. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, stay tuned.